We say see you later to Vanuatu, and see you later to all of the beautiful people on Tanner Island, as we have one night at sea ahead of us for about 160 nautical miles, and we'll be in New Caledonia. We change the courtesy flags and hoist the Q flag, ready for free pratique. Our track as we sailed from Tanner Island to Leefu Island, over onto the main island of New Caledonia, finishing up around in Noumea. At exactly 24 hours from the time we left Tanner Island, the call goes out, land ho, as the island of Leefu comes into view. We headed for a location called Wet, spelt W-E. A very cute little marina, a bit tight for turning Anacam around, but we made it, and one of the locals had just finished telling us how pristine the water was in here when we spotted this critter floating past. The crew on the vessel alongside us, Elaine, Anne and Artur, gave us a lift up to where the shopping centre was in Wet. After only spending the one night in the Wet marina, we got underway because we had to make clearance around at Noumea on the main island of New Caledonia. That would be the Down Under Go West rally flag flying off our backstay. We found a New Caledonian flagged catamaran to sail with for a few miles. We anchored behind a motor yacht or trawler called Karma in Gruulio Bay. Little did we know at the time that we would get to meet the crew, the owner and his wife, Richard and Krista, on that beautiful vessel Karma once we got around to Noumea. We weighed anchor and got underway very early the next morning, and Annie hooked up almost straight away with a nice fat rainbow runner. As the wind had all but dropped out completely, thank heaven we had a cast iron topsail. We set up the inner forestay, hoisted a second jib, and cutter-rigged Anacam to try and get as much as we could out of what little breeze there was. Eventually, we sailed into what one would call a total glass out. Not one single breath of wind anywhere to be seen. The rugged beauty of the east coast of New Caledonia almost took one's breath away. We anchored for the night in a location called St. Roch. The very next morning, as we sailed south, the trade winds let us know they were on the way back. As we were not in a hurry, we had plenty of time to stop in this cute little location to have some lunch. After lunch, we had to tack our way down the island as the trade winds were coming in with a vengeance. Just to be safe, due to the many reefs and coral bommies, we stopped in another location for the night called Kiwini. The next day, we had to fight for every nautical mile as the trade winds were right on our nose. There was a bit of traffic on the water for us to dodge, and this commercial ship was quite amazed that we were able to make more than one knot of speed faster than what they were going. We eased our sails so we could cross behind the ship to anchor for the night in Vanuatu. Annie goes forward to drop our anchor with 40 metres of chain. Once again, we weigh anchor nice and early for our next stop, Port Moselle in Noumea. We finally make landfall where we can disembark, clear customs, immigration and biosecurity, and then find somewhere to have a meal on land. It didn't take long and we found a really nice spot. We loved playing tourists. I guess we really were tourists in a foreign land. We found this memorial erected to celebrate the American and Allied troops that were stationed here during the Second World War. We just had to sample the French beer, and by the way, it wasn't half bad. Had to laugh. Due to the language barrier, one pizza definitely would have done the pair of us, but we ended up with one each. It didn't take long and we found ourselves in this museum. What an amazing display! We found ourselves in downtown Noumea, looking for some internet so we could keep in touch with our family and friends. We strolled up the hill to check out the church at the very top.
So that's part of the leading lights.
Only to find out it was closed off for renovations. We jumped on a bus to head around the island to check out the aquarium. The language barrier between us and the bus driver found us a few kilometres past where we should have been. Found it. This was one very impressive display, worth every cent, every euro, every dollar, every franc, just to be here. We even found somewhere for a bite to eat. Not sure what the rest of the passengers thought, but these two were having a really good time. A couple of Australian minesweepers came in to Port Moselle while we were there, the Huon and the Diamantina. We catch up with the crew that were on the boat alongside us in the wet marina. There's Artua, Anne and Elaine. This lovely family took us for a drive up to a scenic lookout so we could look out over Port Moselle.
Give me a wave. You're on the GoPro. You'll be on YouTube.
We had a laugh as we pointed out where Anacam was. She's the white one with the mast on it. The very next night we were invited up to have a meal with them in their home. It is here we met Krista and Richard, and they invited us down to have a look at Karma, their beautiful custom-built motor yacht.
How are you, Richard? How are you, Krista? Likewise.
You could have knocked me down with a leaf off one of these banyan trees, as the very next day I was in hospital due to a poisoned leg. This is where I met Nurse Natalie. These two lovely nurses were convinced they were going to have me speaking French before they let me go. It turned out I had picked up a staph infection from my first visit to the Marquesas Islands on Batu Hiva. The doctors and nurses here did an amazing job. They had me hooked up to 4 different drips at once. You could say it was a real challenge to change my gown and untangle all of the IV lines. The doctor in charge, try as she might to explain what the issue was, I had no idea what she was talking about. I'm not really sure she understood me either. I think she liked the idea when I said she would make it onto YouTube. Even the girls bringing in my breakfast liked the idea of being stars for the day. This is where Annie really proved that she could do it. She managed the dinghy by herself. She managed customs, clearance and passport control by herself. Because as soon as they let me out of hospital, they said I should go back onto Anacam and put my leg up and rest. I did that all the way back to Australia. This would be the port lateral mark for the Dunbia Pass, the last sign of anything civilization. See you later, New Caledonia. See you later to all of the beautiful people. The next stop for us will be Bundaberg, Queensland, Australia. Hi guys, oh you're still here. Fancy that. Hit the like and the subscribe to follow more of our adventures. In life, do not go where the path might lead you. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail for others to follow.